Hey everybody, today on the show we talk about being distracted and disconnected, how to become a more present mom. I also talk about a few updates going on. I'm hosting a fall series called The Relaxed Mama, and it has a series of 3 different events. One occurred last night, and there's 2 left for the month of October. If you're local to the Treasure Valley, please join us. We are going to be meeting with a pelvic floor therapist on Thursday, October 17th. And she's going to talk about everything from prenatal to menopause and how even our breath impacts our pelvic floor. And then on Thursday, October 28th, I am going to speak with my friend Pam Strain, and we're going to talk about the identity shift in motherhood from moms of littles to empty nesters. Please check out the show notes if you are local and you would like to attend any of these events. I was also invited to speak at a women's brunch on Saturday, October 19th. And the topic is courage over comfort. This is also local to the Treasure Valley area. If you would like to come, the link will be in the show notes to sign up. And I hope that you guys all enjoy the show. Welcome to the Kindred Journey Podcast, the podcast where women share their experiences of stepping into courage when comfort is no longer an option. This is the podcast for connecting in community with women who have been shaped by the liberating to challenging seasons that life endures. I am your host, Lesley. I am a wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend. I too have experienced these seasons in life, and I want you to know that you are surrounded by a community of courageous, real women here for you. I can't wait to connect, so grab your favorite beverage and join me on this kindred journey. Hey everybody, how is everybody doing? Happy October here. It's finally starting to feel like fall and we have crisp morning air and leaves starting to turn. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, and warm afternoons. It is definitely one of my favorite times of year. I have been head down in the trenches of trying to revamp some things for the podcast, and I'm very excited what I'm going to be bringing to you. I don't know when I'm going to do a kind of a launch celebration, but I'm going to be doing some raffle giveaways, and we're changing the name, we're changing the content a little bit. Looking forward to share more with you as it comes along. For now, to be determined when all this is going to be shifted, so stay tuned. For now, with all of that being said, some of my interviews have had to be canceled or changed, or just life has gotten busy with some of the guests that I've had schedules for. So we might be switching things up now as far as how the content is going. So I might just trickle a few different kind of episodes in this month and see how it goes. Hopefully you guys like it. And today we're going to talk about being distracted and disconnected. I am, on top of having the podcast as my little side thing, I sometimes bite off more than I can chew. And I decided to host a series of events that was calling on my heart here in Boise, Idaho, or the Treasure Valley. And it is called the Relaxed Mama series. And we had the first one last night, and it was amazing and very cozy and intimate. We had mamas of all ages there. It was such a beautiful evening with us all connecting and learning about, not how to be a better mom, but how to, I just commend these moms because they took a night off, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes here, from being moms and their jobs, whether that's being a full-time stay-at-home mom or, a working mom or a part-time mom or whatever, just to take the time to fill their cup. And again, it was about parenting. It was a parenting coach, Kim Cross, who's local here. She is amazing. And the work that she does for parents and families is just a beautiful thing. I'm so grateful for her to have taken the time to pour into these moms and myself. I was sitting there too, taking notes right along with everybody else. But I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what we discussed at this meeting. And what's heavy on my heart is I think so the title was Distracted and Disconnected. And we talked about everything from managing our family values and limits And we talked about boundaries and how, it got me thinking, like, how am I showing up distracted and disconnected as a parent, as a person? It was kind of a good reflection. And I'm the one who came up with the title. And then Kim and I kind of collaborated on the content. So it was really interesting to just see how this kind of unfolded, as far as not only was it beneficial for all the other moms there, but it was really beneficial for me as well. Cause I feel like it was a little bit of a reflection. Like, again, I've been having my head down with trying to revamp the podcast and get this fall series together, which I truly enjoy. It fills my cup. So it's a multi-purpose thing here, but it's also at the same time, like, I'm working full time as an ag appraiser, and I have two that are 2 and under. And my husband is still, in and out with fire season kind of winding down. So it's like, I kind of like laugh at myself sometimes when I'm like, why do you sign up? Why do you bite off more than you can chew sometimes? But I feel like that's just the type of personality I have, but also to honor myself when I need the rest. And right now, before this very busy month kind of unfolds, I'm like, okay, you need to wind down. You need to relax. You need to just noticing what my body needs there. And I've noticed this throughout this summer. I've been really paying attention to my nervous system and my body and how my body's feeling in certain circumstances or moments. And I noticed I've kind of ebbed and flowed in these ways of, okay, I'm really on right now. I can get a lot done. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Check that off. Check, check, check. And it's like, okay, that feels good, right? But then there's moments where it's like, okay, I need to pause. I need to rest. I need to not be getting up so early or staying up late or prioritize my sleep for the week. And it's like, before this summer, I would probably have pushed myself. Been like, no, you got to do more. You got to work more. And that's honestly what led to burnout for me for a few years ago. That hit me pretty heavy and hard. So I think now honoring my body and knowing how my body kind of ebbs and flows in seasons, just like we do 365 days a year, and to be okay with the rest versus trying to push through or go harder or do more, and just being okay. Like, it's time. It's kind of like reaping what you sow. You work hard, especially summertime, longer days, especially being an ag appraiser. I'm gonna use this analogy here. Farmers go out, they work the ground, they plant the seed, they water the plant, whatever they're farming, and then harvest time is September. Around September, October, and then you rest. So it's kind of it like that, just in a different cycle for me, because I have a different lifestyle. I'm not a farmer, so I have a husband that's in fire. So like, my on time and my really busy time is summer. Luckily, winter seems to slow down all the time as well. But like, even right now, being fall, like, things are kind of slowing down, and I think that's why my body is gravitating towards more rest right now, is because it's also like the days are getting shorter. I'm just so grateful for this time of year. I wish it was longer than just like a month or two. I wish it was more of like August to November, where I live at least. But anyways, enough about the weather. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about what is maybe distracting and disconnecting you in your life, and how you can become a more present parent or mom or dad. Insert here. The pivot of the podcast, I will tell you, this is going to be towards moms. So I think a few questions that kind of came up for me in listening to this conversation last night was to identify what is pulling at you right now. If you are feeling that you want to be a more present mom, especially in this season of life where I have two that are 2 and under, it's like, oh, the days are long, but the years are short. And truly, like, seeing my 6-month-old, I'm like, how are you 6 months? You're almost 7 months now. Like, how has this gone by so fast? But yes, and the days are long sometimes. Like, they're long, but they're not long enough. Sometimes other days it's like, oh my gosh, where did the time go? I didn't get anything done. So I think to really just focus in on where you're at in your life, what season of life you're in, how many, what kids you have, what stages they're in, because that's going to look completely different for somebody with kids of age that are doing soccer or football or baseball or whatever sport that they're in. And it's practices so many nights a week. And then they have games, and sometimes you have to travel for those games. So I think for me, a few things came up for me about what's pulling at me, and like, ask yourself, what do I need to do differently? I think that is a super helpful reflection point of like, okay, I'm noticing I'm not being as present of a parent as I'd like to be, or a mom that I'd like to be. What do I need to do differently about that? Because like, your circumstance is what it is. It's not going to change, right? But you can change how you approach the circumstance. And ask yourself, like, what is something that does put me in, I'm going to use the word overwhelm, or what is something that puts me into a triggered state? It's an overstimulation. It's a nervous system regulating thing. Like, where do you find yourself not regulated, and overwhelmed or uptight about something, or like, oh, I'm just frustrated, often. Maybe sit with that if you're having a little bit of a hard time kind of identifying the one thing that maybe you could do differently. What is taking you out of the present moment? What is distracting you? What is disconnecting you from your kids, from your life, or from whatever you're in tune with? And so I think those are some good questions to ask to get started. Like, what is the thing that is truly distracting me the most? And for me, like, honestly, tasks. I'm a very task-oriented person. As far as like I'm a go-getter. I like a list. I like to scratch things off that list, So I think being so task-oriented sometimes truly takes me out of the present moment for my kids. And I want you to answer this for yourself. I'm just trying to give you some like background and maybe some hindsight to look at if you needed an example. And then second would be to sit with yourself and the willingness or the unwillingness to put that thing down that you chose. So if you are struggling with, I'll just go with tasks, like, oh, if I could just get one more thing done, are you willing to put that to-do list down to just sit and be with your kids? Like, read a story for 5 minutes, or just kick the ball in the backyard with them, or go for a walk. It's so beautiful outside right now. Like, I think that these things that you could pay attention to are so important and so valuable. But also sit with yourself and ask yourself, am I really willing to do that? Am I willing to set this thing down? Because there's a point here where sometimes if you're not willing to put the thing down, you can have the intention to, but you're not going to do it anyways. Like, you can buy the new running shoes, but you actually have to get out the door and get on the pavement, feet to pavement. So like, my invitation to you is to start small here. Like, say if it's maybe screen time is something that's really getting you out of the present moment. Maybe put your phone down for 5 minutes in the morning while you sip your morning coffee, and then just see how you feel. Or, I've shared with one of my friends, like, how about you do a screen-free Sunday with your family? Like, I know that's big. So I was like, maybe start small. Maybe just go to church and come home. And then when you come home, you can have your phones back. Like, leave your phones at home when you go to church, or have one with you in the car in case of an emergency, and leave it in the car when you go to church. Like, start small. Start with something that's like something that you can tangibly do and you feel like you can accomplish, because that's how the habit, the snowball effect will build for you, is to build on that small thing. So whatever that first thing is that you want to set down, that you're noticing that is taking you away from being present, and then ask yourself, are you willing or unwilling to actually put that thing down or surrender that thing? And I would say the third thing is to invite your kids into things that you're doing. Invite them into the kitchen to help you chop vegetables for dinner, or depending on their age, invite your husband on a walk with you and the kids. That's a great way to actually have a conversation with your spouse, because you're shoulder to shoulder. You're not staring each other face on. Eye to eye contact for men is actually kind of a fight or flight response response to them. Like they feel like they need to defend, to fight. Think about when guys sit and watch football or they're driving in a car, like they can actually have a conversation with each other versus women. For me, I love to just sit down on the couch and drink a cup of coffee with my friend and be like, and you connect, like you look, and so when you, as a parent, you're like, look me in the eye when I'm talking to you. Like, don't say that if you have a boy, because that it truly does actually put them in a fight or flight response. And so, yeah, just a side note there. But yeah, invite them into things. Dinner conversations, like what was your high and what was your low of today? What was something that happened to you today that was really funny? Or what did you laugh at today? Instead of how was your day? Oh, fine. Especially if you have teenagers, I think it's hard to invoke them. I am not there yet. And I can't say I'm dreading it, but I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, I think just finding little pieces of your day that you can invite them into, like, hey, I need your help with this. If they're a teenager, like working on a project, like a house improvement project, like I think giving kids purpose makes them feel really, really good. Like, oh, I can accomplish that. I can do that. So I think, something I want to leave you with here as we wrap up is, are you a do as I say parent, do as I say, not as I do parent, or are you a parent that leads by example? So back to the first takeaway is like, are you going to tell your kid like, hey, I don't want you on your phone as much, or whatever the example is, but then you yourself sit on your phone and scroll social media? And this is a no judgment, no shame zone. I'm just saying, like, have the radical awareness and the radical responsibility of how you are implementing your values as a parent. And also, like, your kids are going to emulate what they see. So it's just natural. Like I literally, my 2-year-old is a sponge right now and absorbing everything I do and mimics so many things that I'm like, oh my gosh, where'd you learn how to do that? Oh, me. Like, not that it's bad or good, but it's just like, he's watching every single thing I do. And so just like be aware of that and yes, I know we're the parents and they're the children, so don't come at me. But like, how do you want to lead by example, or do you want to be a do as I say, not as I do parent? I guess I'll just leave you with that. And get down on their level, like depending what age they are, or, this can look different in so many ways, especially for kids who are different. Like I know you can't parent one kid the same way you parent the other kid, but like be with them, talk to them, listen, ask questions. Like I said, kind of that dinner time conversation, like, how was your day? Like, what did you find exciting or challenging about today? Like, not just oh, how are you? Like a surface level question, like really ask them questions, get curious with your kids. I think that's something that I'm trying to focus on more, is how can I like look at life through the lens of my 2-year-old's eyes. I think that is so enlightening. And one thing I really, that stuck out to me last night when she was talking was she was telling us the list of things that is our job as a parent. It's a very long list. She didn't even go through all of it. But Kim said, it's not our job to make our kids happy. And so many parents are like, well, I just want my kids to be happy. And so sit with that for a minute, because I feel like we want our kids to be happy, but we need to understand and realize that happiness is temporary. It's a fleeting it's a fleeting experience, feeling, emotion. It ebbs and flows day to day. Like, are you always 24/7 happy? No. There's two sides to every coin. So I think a lot of us are doing a disservice to our kids by trying to constantly make them happy, because we're not preparing them for life in the real world. We're not teaching them how to have hard conversations, have hard things happen to them. And like the world is not rainbows and unicorns 24/7. That's not realistic. So we are honestly, truly doing a disservice if we're trying to make our kids happy all the time. And I think that's something that like I've been guilty of too. Like, oh, I'll just put a screen in front of him so he can just watch a show so I can have a minute to myself or whatever. I think it's, like I said, radical awareness and radical responsibility falls on us for how we're leading these kids by example. And so just sit with that. Like, it's okay. What did they do in the 60s? They didn't have screens. They didn't have phones. I know it's part of our life and our society that we live in today, but kids were okay. Like if they cried for a few minutes. And I think that's also something that has a lot to do with your nervous system. Sometimes you just don't like to hear your kid cry. It really overstimulates you. You get a sensation in your body like, oh my gosh, what's happening? You get into a nervous system response. And so it's something that I would love for you to just maybe reflect on and sit with, like, it's not my job to make my kid happy. And I'm going to be safe and okay to hear them cry for a few minutes because they didn't get what they want. They are going to get past this emotion. This emotion will not be forever. So as we wrap up here, I just want to drop the 3 tips again. Feel free to reach out to me if you like this kind of an episode. As we wrap up, I'm going to make some announcements as well for some upcoming events. And thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. So first, identify what is pulling at you right now and what is it that you need to do differently. Second, sit with yourself and the willingness or the unwillingness that you are able to put it down. Are you willing to actually truly put that thing down? And 3, invite your kids into everything. Not everything, but invite them into things. Invite them into conversations at the dinner table. Invite them into the kitchen to help you make dinner. Invite them to help you with yard work. Invite them to do things with you and engage with you, because truly all they want to do is connect with us and be with us and build a relationship with us. Relationships are key with our kids. So I hope this can help you maybe take some of this stuff into practice and see if it can help you through the weekend to be a more present mom, parent, spouse, whatever it might be. So we are in the month of October and doing the Relaxed Mama series. It is topics that are covering health, family, and self-care. It was really fun. We had some refreshments and raffle prizes last night that a couple gals won. And it's a great opportunity to connect with other moms, to know that you're not going at this alone. Like we need community. It does truly take a village. There are 2 more events left, and their registration is $12 each. If you did sign up for all 3, you got one on me as my gift to you. I wanted to say thank you to everybody. So I'll keep dropping in, letting you know how these events are going on the podcast. And I'm actually on Thursday, October 17th is the next one. It's Don't Forget to Breathe. It's with a pelvic floor therapist, Alina Wright, and with Bloomhouse PT. She specializes in everything from prenatal to menopause. So, and even our breath and how our breath is connected to our pelvic floor. It's pretty amazing. So please feel free to check in the show notes for a link to that if you are local. And then on Thursday, October 24th, I am actually going to be speaking along with my lovely friend Pam Strain about repurposing your passion. And we're going to talk about the identity shift in motherhood from moms of littles to empty nesters. And I hope you can join us if you are local. And speaking of, my toddler just woke up, so I'm going to wrap up here. And I was also invited to actually speak at a women's brunch at my church. And it's the topic of courage over comfort. So in honor of the podcast, I am sharing my story of choosing courage over comfort and the biblical insights that are embracing courage in the face of life's challenges that we all have. It's part of the human experience to suffer. So if you would like to sign up for that as well, I will include a link in the show notes. If you are local, that is going to be on Saturday, October 19th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And I think that's it for now. So I hope you enjoyed this different episode, and I would love feedback. Feel free to send me an email. I'll include my email in the show notes, and then I am on social media as well. So if you would like to reach out and write a review, make a comment that how much you like this type of an episode style. We still will be doing some stories of courage. I would love to focus on women of, I would say, first responder wives this month, because as fire season winds down, and it's been such a summer for myself and my friends that are also solo parenting out there, like super grateful, super appreciated, and respected of those who put their lives on the line every single day in whatever capacity and whatever community, country that they do put their lives on the line. But there are women at home that are really strong and brave too. So I would love to just share and honor and highlight those stories of courage as well. So let me know if you know of anybody that would be a great fit for a guest on the show for this month while I'm honoring first responder wives. I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you for joining me and listening to the Kindred Journey Podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please consider taking the time to rate and review the podcast and share this episode with family and friends who you think might enjoy it. Your positive feedback helps me reach more courageous women like you. This is my passion project, so without you, I wouldn't be here doing this, and I deeply appreciate your support. Until next time.